Hello and welcome to day 20 of the Halloween Craft Countdown, where I've been sharing 20 Halloween themed paper crafts with you in 20 days. Today is the final day, so I thought I'd better give you a fright. After all, it's Halloween, right? Today's project is this coffin-shaped box that's hiding a little bit of a surprise. When the lid comes off, bam! Vampire pops straight out as if it's waking up after being disturbed. This is done with some clever little pieces of acetate, holding it flat inside the box until that lid comes off and it pops straight up. This is a fun craft to make with kids, or just make it yourself and then share it with kids, or you could keep it on display with the vampire popped up in his upright position. Let's get started. The files for this project are free for the next 24 hours. Here's how to download them. Register a free ticket for the Halloween Craft Countdown at craftwithsarah.com/HCC25. After registering, you'll get an email which contains a link to the schedule page for the countdown. Visit the schedule page to find and download today's files. Each download is only available for free for 24 hours after it goes live. If you've missed some, check out the Instant Access bundle at craftwithsarah.com/HCC25 bundle, which gives immediate and ongoing access to all of the files from the Halloween Craft Countdown, plus loads of extra bonus designs. Or purchase just this design at craftwithsarah.com/products. To find the designs from this countdown, click into the Occasions filter and choose Halloween. The designs will appear here each day once they become available to buy. The download comes in a zip folder. You need to unzip this before uploading the SVG files into Cricut Design Space. Before we begin with making the craft, I just wanted to go through a little bit about how the pop-out effect is made. And this is done with some acetate pieces. You can see my acetate here with my double-sided tape. We tried it with cardstock for the mechanism instead, and cardstock just didn't have that little bend in it, that bounce that allows the vampire to come up. With cardstock, he only made it out to about there, about halfway. He looked like he was still having a snooze rather than completely waking up for the day ahead, or the night ahead. I recommend acetate that is at least 240 micron in thickness. It's a fair, good thickness. It gives a good wobble, almost like bookmark thickness to the acetate. If your acetate's really thin, then you might need to cut the rectangles a few more times, maybe 4 times, and stick them back to back to get it strong enough. If the acetate's too thin, it's not going to have enough power in it to give the motion. But if it's a little bit thicker, then you can just use 1 instead of 2 bits. This is 2 stuck back to back. So there's a little bit of flexibility in there, but I really do recommend using acetate. Sometimes when I make projects with acetate, I say that you could use the cover off of an old Cricut mat as an alternative. For instance, if you're making something like a shaker card, then that would work out fine. However, for this, it really does need to be a lot thicker than that, so that isn't suitable for this one. I'll drop some links in the written tutorial version of this project to the exact acetate I'm using, and if you can't find that exact one, because mine will obviously be a UK supplier as that's where I live, then at least you'll be able to see a little bit more about the thickness and that particular type of acetate, and be able to find something similar. So there we go, that's the acetate effect, making him pop out. And now I'm going to close him back up and we'll see how to make him. Once you've downloaded and unzipped the folder, open up Cricut Design Space and start a new project. Press Upload over on the left and then Upload Image. Then either click Browse to find a file on your computer, or you can drag and drop it in. Choose the unzipped version of the download folder and then look in 01 Cricut version. If you've got a silhouette or a scan and cut instead, head to craftwithsarah.com/help for separate tutorials on which file to choose for your particular type of machine. In 01 Cricut version, there's a file in here that starts svg-01 in the file name. Well, that's the one we want, and this is what it looks like. Press Continue, then on this screen, press Upload. and then it will insert the design onto your canvas. You can close out this window on the left by clicking the arrow halfway down the page. The project should load in at 15 inches wide and 27 inches tall. If yours is different, then change it to match. There are a few things we need to do before this is ready to cut. First, click the design and separate out the layers by clicking the Ungroup button at the top of the Layers panel. And then look down until you find a layer that's got a chevron arrow next to it in the Layers panel. It will be either this one here or this black piece here. These are what makes up the box for the vampire to hide in, his little coffin, and we need to set the score lines. Alright, so it doesn't matter which way around you do it, I'll do this one first. Click the chevron to open it up, and then you'll see a solid black piece, and then a piece on top that looks like lots of sticky outlines. Click to select just that one bit, and then it will show as green in the colour up here. Under Operation, change it to Score. Then in the Layers panel, click to select both that sticky outline layer that you've just changed to Score and the black piece underneath and press Attach. Attach is what tells the Cricut where to do the scoring. And then we've got the other one to do. Open that up, click on the top bit, change it to Score, click to select both those layers and Attach. Attach moves it to the top of the Layers panel, so I now can't see all those details, but you can go Arrange, Center Back to put it back underneath. Now it looks like I haven't done anything because you can't see the score lines. It's black lines on a black bit of card. But if you want to double check you've done it, you can open up your Attach, click on the bottom layer and change the colour to something bright just to check how things are looking. So you can see my score lines are there, they're just not showing up on the black. If I change it back to black, they look like they've gone again, but they are still there. And that's it, that's all you have to change. When you're cutting this out, everything will be cut from cardstock apart from these two blue rectangles. These should be cut from the acetate that I was talking about earlier. When you're happy with how everything's looking, press Make over on the top right of the screen and that will separate out all the colours. You can change the paper size in the drop down here, and then you can click and drag to move things about to take up less space on your cardstock. When I was cutting the acetate, I found that the acetate setting, the actual cut setting for acetate, did not cut through my acetate at all. It barely even made a dent on it. So instead I used the craft board setting. That's craft with a K. That's a very, very strong cut setting. So for me, as my acetate was on the thick side, that worked perfectly. It cut through first time on that craft board setting. So if you are having trouble, try that and see if it works. Press Continue to connect to your Cricut and then follow the on-screen instructions to get everything cut from either your cardstock or your acetate. I've now got all of the pieces of my project cut out, so I'm ready to start putting it together. First of all, we'll glue together all the pieces of the vampire, so gather all of those and put them in front of you. The glue I'm using for this project is Barely Art Glue, but I also like Collal. The reason I like these two glues is they don't bend or wrinkle the card like other glues can do. We'll start up by gluing the big black piece of his clothes onto the red. Turn it upside down and add some glue to the back. Line up the feet as a guide of where it goes. And then the rest of it lines up along the edges of the red. Next up, we've got this white piece. It looks super creepy with those circles for eyes. And this gets glued at the top of the bit of red. It fits snugly in there against the shirt. And then we've got the black of the head, this piece here. Glue this on top of the white. It will show his fangs through. Then the face layer on top, which looks like this. It's a little bit thin, so be careful when you're gluing and when you're picking it up as well. so you don't tear it. And finally, his hands. There's no specific place to put these, nothing to line it up against, but you can kind of judge it based on where his cloak goes in and starts to meet the arms. His hands should look like they're sort of being held out in front of him. And that's our vampire all done. Now we can start on the box. You'll have two black pieces. The larger one makes up the base of the box where the vampire will be hidden, and the smaller one makes up the lid. We'll do the base first. I've got all of my score lines showing here, and then you can either choose to fold upwards along the score lines, or you can turn it upside down and fold it that way. I sort of feel like, because I want to be able to see exactly where I'm folding, I'm going to keep the score lines on top so I can see them and then fold upwards towards myself along them. As long as your card's the same colour on both sides, it doesn't really matter which way around you fold it. If your card is only coloured on one side, so if it was white core cardstock, perhaps black on the front and white on the back, then you'd need to make sure whichever first side you're folding upwards, this will be the side that's on the inside of the coffin. But double-sided coloured card will work best, because ideally you want it to be black on both sides. We go down all those score lines, just fold it upwards towards myself. Now that all those are folded, I'm going to put in one of the sides with tabs on, and then the next side will go upwards and glue or double-sided tape, it doesn't matter which, onto that tab. And work around the whole side following that same kind of idea. So all of the tabs will go upwards, and then the bit next to it will stick to that tab to form the sides. I think that double-sided tape is going to be easier here than glue, because the tape will hold straight away, whereas the glue would take a little while to dry, so I'd have to hold it while everything is drying. So I'm going to use my tape runner. This is an easy runner grand. I really like it. It works really well. So let's do that. Just trying to figure out what side I want this on. Okay, turn it over to add the tape. If you're adding tape, try not to go any further than the score line, otherwise you'll be able to see bits of it. Right, let's tape on all the tabs. Now I'll turn it back over, so now this is the inside of the box showing. And then work around all the sides, folding them up and sticking the next side to the tab. If you are using glue, you could use some paper clips to help hold things in place, rather than having to hold it with your fingers each time. So you could get the two sides into position, then put a paper clip over it to hold them together until the glue dries. Tape works nicely. These boxes don't have to be super strong. We're not putting anything inside them other than our little scary vampire. Okay, that's the box. Next up, we can add the red pieces to the inside of the coffin. The reason we're sticking these on after we've put the coffin box together is so that they go over all of those tabs and hide it. This is to give the kind of effect of the red velvet, lush interior of the coffins that you see in a lot of vampire movies. For now, we're not going to put the bottom bit in, because that will go in after we've done the vampire to hide the acetate. So for now, we've just got the bits to go on the sides, which will be glued on. You can leave these off if you don't want to add them in. It is just for decoration. This is really hard to show you. There'll be a little bit of black around the edge. It doesn't go quite up to the lines, so you've got a little bit of wiggle room to sort of play about with trying to get it straight and things like that. Doesn't matter which way round you put the designs, just make sure you put the right bits on the right section, because they're all slightly different sizes. They are symmetrical, so those two are the same, those two are the same, but those two are a little bit different. The smallest one, as I have just worked out, goes at the top. That's all the insides done. Now we can work on the vampire. Take one of your pieces of acetate and fold it in half. Like that. So we've now got a V shape. And then take the second piece and do the same thing. If you've cut multiple bits of acetate, if yours was a bit thinner, so that you can stick them back to back, then fold all of them at this point. And then I'm going to stick these together, and I think it will be easiest to do this with tape. Glue can be a bit funny with acetate, putting it on plastic. Sometimes it takes forever to dry. I've not put any tape directly in that crease so that I can add the other bit in there. And then get them lined up. It doesn't need to be 100% neat. There we go. And then fold it again, push down on that crease. Give it a little look and see if one side kind of stands up better than the other. So on mine, I've got one where it's nice and straight, but when I turn it round, this one's got a bit of a bend in it. So I want the straight one to be the one that I stick my vampire to. Open it out a little bit, try and train it into position so that it's going at a rough right angle. And then add some more tape or glue to the front. And then stick the vampire on the top so that his feet line up on that crease line. You can see a little bit of the acetate, but it'll be hidden once it's in the box. And then on the back, add some more tape. And we're going to stick this inside the box so that the score line is right up against the very bottom crease. Then hold it outwards, kind of push it down along the bottom. And there's our stood up vampire. Down and up. It won't be completely vertical, there'll be a little bit of give in there. But it definitely pops out. Next up, take one of the red pieces and this will be glued on top in there so it covers up the majority of that acetate. You'll still be able to see it a little bit on the back, but you won't really be looking at it from that angle. Add your glue. You can see mine's already got some dried on glue on it. That's because I totally did this wrong in the first part of this video and was going to stick it down before I put the vampire in. But luckily I realised just in time. So we'll re-glue. Stick this down. Alright, so that's in there. We've still got the space for the vampire to come down. And pop up. That's the base done, so now we can start work on the lid. Once again, I've got my score lines facing upwards and I'm going to fold upwards along them because then I can see where I'm scoring, where I'm folding with those score lines. This is the same sort of process as the base, it's just our tabs are a lot smaller now because the lid isn't as thick as the base. That's why we did the base first, because it's easier. Right, then turn it round And even though I prefer doing tape because these are very small, I'm going to do it with glue. I'm probably going to regret putting glue on all of them at once. Probably should have done it one at a time. We'll see. Okay, then it's the same process. Putting those tabs in, folding up the next side, and getting them in place. The remaining red bit will be glued inside. Here we are. I didn't do the red bits for the sides on this one because they're so narrow anyway, so that would just be really, really tricky to cut out and to stick. So we've just got the red on that bit. But if we turn over to face the front, we've got the RIP decoration and the cross. Or of course you can decorate the front however you want to. So, do this one first. My hardest bit is trying to stick things on straight. I think that's okay. Then we'll glue the cross underneath. I'm going to give that a second to dry. My glue's all dry now, so let's put it together. We've got our little vampire, push down, and then slide the lid over the top. Get that on nice and securely, and then that's on there strong enough that the vampire doesn't push it off. But when we take the lid off, make sure you don't squeeze it here because that can affect it coming off when you're taking the lid off. So I'm just holding it gently, and then ta-da! My vampire has popped right out. It's really fun. I love how it works. So there we go. Vampire Fright Box, all finished. I hope that you enjoyed making this vampire scare box with me for the final day of the 2025 Halloween craft countdown. I really hope you've enjoyed crafting along with me for the past 20 days. Let me know in the comments what your favourite project from the countdown was. If you missed any of the projects and you'd like to catch up, or if you're watching this at a later date and you'd like to get all of the files together in one bundle, plus a load of extra bonus designs, head to craftwithsarah.com/HCC25 bundle. I'll also drop the link in the description of the video. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel for loads more Cricut crafts and free SVGs. While the Halloween countdown may be over, that doesn't mean I'm about to stop sharing freebies because I love to create new designs and share them all with you, and there are lots more coming out for the rest of this year. And of course, give it a couple of months, but did someone say Christmas countdown? Yeah, that's going to be on the way too. But for now, thank you so much for crafting Halloween-themed awesomeness with me this year. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!